welcome to your deep dive. This deep dive is all about life insurance, specifically after a breast cancer diagnosis.
You can feel, it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah, especially when you are focused on healing and moving forward. But we're here to break it down, step by step.
Totally. Just equipping you with the knowledge to make those informed decisions.
Exactly.
And feel more confident about that financial future.
Yes.
And before we even dive into specifics, let's just start with some optimism.
Okay.
The 5-year survival rate for localized breast cancer is 99%.
Wow.
Amazing. It's a testament to the advancements in treatment and a real beacon of hope for anyone facing this diagnosis.
It's so encouraging to hear that. It really sets a positive tone for this conversation. But, let's be realistic for a second. Dealing with insurance can feel like a whole other challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with a pre-existing condition like breast cancer.
Totally.
So how does that all work?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Insurance companies, they're all about assessing risk.
Yeah.
So naturally, a breast cancer diagnosis is going to factor into their calculations.
Right.
Potentially impacting both the type of policy that you qualify for and the cost.
Okay, so let's unpack this risk assessment thing. Does having had breast cancer automatically disqualify someone from getting life insurance?
No, not at all. It's not a black and white situation.
Okay.
A history of breast cancer will be considered. During that underwriting process, it doesn't mean coverage is out of reach. Many survivors secure life insurance every year.
That's good.
Successfully. What's crucial is understanding the options available at different points in your journey.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's start with someone who is currently undergoing treatment for breast cancer.
Okay.
What are their options at this stage?
In this case, guaranteed issue. Life insurance is a valuable option.
Okay.
Designed for people during active treatment. And the best part is there's no medical exams or health questionnaires.
So you're just guaranteed coverage?
Basically, yeah. You are guaranteed that coverage.
No, that sounds incredibly accessible.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's a trade-off somewhere.
Yeah, you're sharp.
What's the catch?
The catch is these policies generally offer lower coverage amounts compared to the traditional options.
Okay.
And often come with higher premiums.
Right.
Think of it this way. The insurer's taking on more risk by foregoing those usual health evaluations. So they adjust the policy terms accordingly.
So it's a way to secure at least some level of financial protection during a time when other options might be limited.
Right.
It's kind of like a safety net.
Exactly. It offers peace of mind, that sense of security during treatment. And then, as you move into remission, a wider range of possibilities opens up.
Okay, so that's where things start to get really interesting. What changes in terms of life insurance options once someone is in remission from breast cancer?
Once you are in remission, you can start exploring those traditional life insurance policies that you hear about. Term, whole, universal life insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those terms get thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Can we break them down?
Yeah.
In simple terms, just so everyone listening is on the same page?
Absolutely. Let's start with term life insurance.
Okay.
This type of policy provides coverage for a specific period, like 10, 20, or 30 years. You pay fixed premiums, meaning your payments stay the same throughout that term of the policy.
Makes sense.
It's a straightforward option. If you're looking for coverage during a specific phase of life, like while your kids are young, or you have a mortgage.
Right. Anything else to keep in mind about term life insurance?
One thing that might be particularly useful for someone in remission is a convertible term policy.
All right, good.
This means you have the option to convert your term coverage to permanent coverage later on.
Okay.
Without having to go through a new medical exam.
Wait, hold on. I had no idea that was even a thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a game changer, especially for someone whose health history might make getting a new policy difficult down the line.
It is. It offers a great deal of flexibility and peace of mind.
Wow. Okay. So let's move on to whole life insurance.
Okay.
This one's a permanent policy.
Yes.
Meaning it provides lifelong coverage as long as you keep up with the premium payments.
Right.
So this one is a good option for creating a long-term financial legacy for your loved ones.
It is.
Lifelong coverage. That sounds pretty comprehensive. What's the catch?
Well, whole life insurance comes with higher premiums than term life insurance because it's covering you for your entire life.
Right.
But one of the key advantages of whole life is that it builds cash value over time.
So it's kind of like a forced savings plan, built right into your life insurance policy.
Exactly.
I like that.
The cash value can be borrowed against or withdrawn later on, providing financial flexibility when you need it most.
Okay, so we've got term and whole life insurance. What about universal life? What makes this one stand out from the crowd?
Universal life policies are also permanent, but they offer more flexibility when it comes to premium payments and death benefit options.
Okay.
It's like a customizable life insurance plan. Gives you more control as your life changes. This can be especially appealing if you anticipate changes in your income down the road.
That makes sense. So we've covered the traditional options, term, whole, and universal.
Yeah.
And we talked about guaranteed issue life insurance, which is helpful during active treatment. Are there any other types of life insurance someone in remission might want to explore?
Yes. There's also simplified issue life insurance,
Okay.
which falls somewhere between guaranteed issue and the traditional options.
Okay.
Bridges that gap. It offers a good alternative for those who might not qualify for traditional policies right away.
Tell me more about this middle ground option. It sounds intriguing.
With simplified issue, you'll answer a few health questions on the application, but you won't have to undergo a full medical exam.
Got it.
The coverage amounts are usually higher than guaranteed issue policies, and the premiums are generally a bit more affordable.
Okay.
However, approval will depend on your answers to those health questions.
So it's like a stepping stone for those who need more coverage than guaranteed issue,
Right.
but aren't quite ready for a traditional policy.
Exactly. It helps fill that gap.
Yeah.
And then there's always the option of group life insurance,
Right.
which is often offered through employers or associations.
Right. I've heard about group life insurance. What are the main advantages of going that route?
The biggest advantage is that group life insurance often has no medical requirements. You're covered as part of the group,
Okay.
regardless of your individual health history.
Got it.
So it can be a real lifeline for someone who might face stricter underwriting guidelines when applying for individual policies.
Yeah, for sure. So we always encourage people to explore this option.
Yeah.
Through their employer's HR department.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about the big question on everyone's mind. Cost. We know cost is a major factor when considering life insurance. How is the cost determined for someone who has a history of breast cancer?
That's a great question. And it's where things can get a bit more complex.
Okay.
The cost of life insurance for breast cancer survivors depends on several factors, including the type of coverage you choose, the amount of coverage you need, the length of the policy, and of course your individual health profile.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all calculation.
Right.
Each person's cost will be based on their own unique circumstance.
Exactly. To determine those costs, insurance companies use what they call risk classifications.
Okay.
Think of them like credit scores for life insurance.
Got it.
They group people based on their overall health and risk level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a rating system. That
Yeah.
determines how risky an applicant is from the insurance company's perspective.
You got it. A higher score, like preferred plus, means you're considered lower risk and will likely get better rates. On the other hand, a lower score might lead to higher premiums.
I imagine Preferred Plus is probably not a realistic category for most breast cancer survivors. Am I right?
You are right on the mark. It's rare for someone with a history of cancer to qualify for Preferred Plus.
Right.
However, depending on factors like the time since diagnosis, treatment details, and overall health,
Yeah.
a survivor might fall into other categories like Preferred,
Okay.
Standard Plus.
Or
Yeah.
standard.
So there's still a range of possibilities within those classifications.
Absolutely. But here's the key takeaway. Even if you're initially assigned to a less favorable risk category, it doesn't mean you're stuck there forever as you move further into remission and maintain good health. You can often qualify for a better rating down the line. It's worth checking in with your insurer periodically to see if you qualify for lower premiums.
Oh, that makes sense. So even if
Yeah.
I qualify for a standard policy now, it's worth checking back in a few years to see if I can get a better rate as I get further into remission. You got it. It's all about staying proactive and advocating for yourself.
That's a really encouraging point. So we've covered the different types of life insurance and how risk classifications can impact cost.
Yeah.
What's next on our deep dive checklist?
Now let's talk about finding the right insurance company.
Okay.
This is where your research and due diligence really come into play.
Okay, this is where I start to feel a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
How do I even begin to navigate the world of insurance companies? It feels like a jungle out there.
It's understandable to feel overwhelmed, but it's easier than you think. The most important piece of advice is this. Shop around.
Okay.
Don't just settle for the first quote you get.
Like,
Each insurance company has its own underwriting guidelines, meaning they assess risk differently.
so one company might be more lenient than another when it comes to a history of breast cancer.
Exactly. One company might require a 5-year remission period before offering a standard policy,
Okay.
while another might be comfortable with 3 years.
Got it.
By comparing quotes from multiple insurers,
Yeah.
you can find the company that's most aligned with your specific situation.
So it's not just about finding the lowest price,
Yeah.
but also about finding a company that understands my unique health history and offers terms that work for me.
You got it. Don't be afraid to ask questions and compare policies side by side. Now, here's a pro tip. Be prepared to share detailed information about your medical history when you request quotes.
Okay, right. Transparency is key when dealing with insurance. What specific details should I have ready to provide?
Be ready to share the stage and type of breast cancer you had,
Okay,
your age at diagnosis, the treatment plan you underwent,
got it.
and any follow-up care you've received.
Okay.
And of course, how long you've been in remission
Uh-huh.
and your overall health status. The more information you can provide up front, the smoother the application process will be.
So it's all about being organized and having all my ducks in a row.
Precisely. And while we're on the topic of transparency, let's emphasize the importance of honesty on your application. It might be tempting to downplay certain health details, but honesty really is the best policy, especially when it comes to insurance.
Right. I can see how that could backfire down the road.
Any discrepancies between what you report and what's in your medical records
Yeah.
can lead to problems later on, including higher premiums, policy cancellation, or even denied claims. It's always better to be upfront and honest from the beginning.
Honesty is the best policy indeed. Now, what of family history? How does that factor into the equation?
If you have a family history of breast cancer, it's something you'll need to disclose on your application.
Okay.
Most insurers will ask about the health history of your parents and siblings, particularly any cancer diagnoses.
So even if I'm currently cancer-free,
Yeah.
my family's health history can still influence my life insurance options.
Yes, it can. But here's the important point. If you are currently cancer-free, you're still likely to qualify for standard or even preferred rates,
Oh, okay.
even with a family history of breast cancer. The key is to apply sooner rather than later, while you're younger and healthier.
Right, that makes sense. It's like locking in a good rate before any potential health issues arise. Being proactive is key.
Exactly. It's especially relevant for those with a family history of a condition like breast cancer.
Right.
Securing that financial protection early on can be
Alright.
incredibly valuable.
Speaking of being proactive, if I'm worried about future health issues,
Yeah.
especially with a family history of breast cancer, are there any options for adding extra protection to my policy?
That's a great question. And it leads us to a topic that can provide a lot of peace of mind. Riders.
Okay, tell me more about these riders. What are they and what do they do?
Riders are basically add-ons to your main policy that provide additional coverage for specific situations. Think of them as extra layers of protection, for example. There are critical and chronic illness riders that let you access a portion of your death benefit if you are diagnosed with a qualifying illness, like a recurrence of cancer, heart attack, or stroke.
So it's like a safety net
Yeah.
within your safety net.
Yeah.
Okay. It allows you to access funds when you need them most
Yeah.
without having to wait until it, well, you know.
Exactly. These riders provide financial flexibility and peace of mind during challenging times. And then there are accelerated benefit riders, which let you access funds from your policy if you're diagnosed with a terminal illness. This can help cover medical expenses, make arrangements for your loved ones, or simply allow you to enjoy your remaining time without financial stress.
Those riders sound incredibly valuable, especially for someone navigating a health journey like this. It's all about having those layers of protection and support.
Absolutely. They provide peace of mind when you need it most.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive,
We have.
from the different types of life insurance to the factors influencing cost and the importance of shopping around. It's a lot to take in,
It is.
but remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand, the more confident you'll feel about making informed decisions. And that's what this is all about, empowering you to take control of your financial future. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. How has your perspective on life insurance shifted since we started this conversation? Take a moment to reflect on that, and we'll be back soon to continue our exploration. Welcome back to our deep dive into life insurance after a breast cancer diagnosis. I don't know about you, but I'm already feeling a lot more informed and honestly, a bit empowered.
That's fantastic to hear. Knowledge really is the key to taking control.
Yeah.
And, as we continue this conversation, I want to highlight a really important point. Securing life insurance after a breast cancer diagnosis isn't just about checking a box. It's a powerful step towards building a sense of security and control over your future.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's not just about the policy itself, but like the feeling of agency it provides. It's about taking charge of your financial well-being, which can have a ripple effect on other areas of your life too.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is that the landscape of life insurance is evolving.
Okay.
Insurers are becoming more attuned to the realities of cancer survivorship, recognizing that each person's journey is unique.
So it's not about fitting into like rigid,
Yeah.
predefined boxes anymore.
Exactly. Underwriting processes are becoming more nuanced and flexible, taking into account those individual circumstances and recognizing that health can improve over time.
Right.
So even if you're initially placed in a higher risk category or assigned a less favorable reading, it doesn't mean you're stuck there forever.
Oh, that's a powerful message. It highlights the importance of staying proactive, advocating for yourself, and like keeping an open dialogue with your insurer.
Precisely. It's about partnering with your insurer to make sure your coverage aligns with your evolving needs
Yeah,
and health status.
the sure.
Yeah.
Now, shifting gears a bit, I'm curious about the emotional aspect of all of this.
Yeah.
We've talked about the practicalities of life insurance, but like how does securing coverage play into the overall emotional well-being of someone navigating life after a breast cancer diagnosis?
That's such an important question and one that often gets overlooked.
Yeah.
A breast cancer diagnosis can bring up a lot of difficult emotions, fear, uncertainty,
Right.
anxiety about the future, and financial worries often add another layer of stress,
Yeah.
an already challenging situation.
Absolutely. It's like,
Right.
having this weight on your shoulders, wondering how you're going to handle everything financially,
Right.
especially if your ability to work is impacted by treatment and everything.
Exactly. And that's where life insurance can play a significant role in providing that emotional support. It's not just about financial protection for your loved ones, but also about creating a sense of security for yourself
Right.
in the present moment.
And then now. Yeah.
Knowing you have that safety net in place can alleviate a lot of anxiety and allow you to focus on healing and moving forward.
It's about taking control, removing some of that uncertainty, and allowing yourself to like breathe a little easier.
Precisely. And those riders we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
For critical illnesses or accelerated benefits can be incredibly empowering in this regard. They provide additional layers of protection, financial flexibility, giving you that peace of mind as you navigate your health journey.
It's like having options and resources at your fingertips, which can make a world of difference emotionally. Now, all of this talk about finances and insurance can feel overwhelming,
Right.
especially after everything else that comes with a breast cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's feeling a bit lost or intimidated by the whole process?
My advice would be to start small.
Okay.
You don't have to figure everything out all at once.
Right.
Begin by simply gathering information,
Right.
Doing some research online, talking to a trusted friend or family member who might have experience with life insurance.
That's a great starting point. It's about taking that first step, even if it feels small.
Yeah.
What other resources are out there for someone who wants more personalized guidance?
There are so many resources available.
Okay.
Financial advisors can provide expert advice tailored to your specific circumstances. Insurance brokers can help you compare quotes from different companies, find the best policy for your needs, and don't underestimate the power of support groups. Connecting with others who've been through similar experiences can be incredibly empowering.
I love that. It's about building a support network and recognizing that you don't have to go through this alone.
Exactly. And as you gather information and connect with resources, you'll start to feel more confident and in control.
For sure.
Remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about life insurance, the better equipped you'll be to make decisions that align with your goals.
Okay. I'm feeling more and more empowered with each step we take in this deep dive.
Good.
But before we move on, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about insurance companies becoming more attuned to the realities of cancer survivorship. Can you elaborate on that a bit? Like, what exactly is changing in the industry, and how does it benefit someone who has a history of breast cancer?
That's a great question. One of the most significant changes is a growing awareness that cancer survivorship is not a one-size-fits-all experience.
Right?
Insurers are starting to recognize that health can improve over time, and they're adjusting their underwriting guidelines accordingly.
So they're moving away from those rigid categories and looking at individual cases, the more nuanced lens.
Exactly. For example, some companies are now using more sophisticated algorithms to assess risk, taking into account factors like the type and stage of cancer,
Okay.
time since diagnosis, treatment response,
Huh?
and overall health trends. They're also paying more attention to advancements in cancer treatment and the potential for long-term survival.
So it's not just about looking at the past, but also considering the potential for a healthy future.
Precisely. This shift in perspective benefits cancer survivors by creating more opportunities for securing favorable insurance terms. It means that even if you were denied coverage or offered a high-risk policy in the past, it might be worth reevaluating your options now.
That's incredibly encouraging. It means there's hope. Even if your initial experience with life insurance was less than ideal,
Right.
what other changes are happening in the industry that benefit cancer survivors?
Another positive trend is the emergence of specialized insurance products designed specifically for people with pre-existing conditions,
Okay.
including cancer. These policies often have more flexible underwriting guidelines and take into account the unique needs of cancer survivors.
So instead of trying to fit into a standard mold, there are now options that are tailored to specific health journeys.
It is. It's about recognizing that everyone's situation is different
Yeah.
and offering coverage options that reflect those differences. And in addition to specialized policies,
Yeah.
many traditional insurers are also becoming more lenient in their approach to cancer survivors.
Okay.
They're recognizing that people can live long and healthy lives after a cancer diagnosis, and they're willing to adjust their risk assessments accordingly.
That's a huge step in the right direction. It's about acknowledging the resilience and strength of cancer survivors and recognizing their potential for a healthy future.
Exactly. And it's about creating a more inclusive and equitable insurance landscape
Right.
for everyone, regardless of their health history. Now, all of this talk about positive changes in the industry is incredibly encouraging, but I'm sure some listeners are still wondering, okay, but how do I actually find these companies
Right.
that are more open to working with cancer survivors? What advice would you give to someone who's starting their search for life insurance?
That's a great question. And it brings us back to the importance of research and comparison shopping. The first step is to gather as much information as possible
Yeah.
about different insurance companies and their underwriting guidelines.
Exactly. And there are several ways to do this. You can start by visiting the websites of major insurance companies and looking for information about their policies for people with pre-existing conditions. Many companies also have online tools that allow you to get instant quotes based on your health history.
So you can get a general sense of your options without having to go through a full application process.
Exactly. It's a quick and easy way to gauge which companies might be more receptive to your situation. And in addition to online research, you can also reach out to independent insurance brokers.
Okay.
These brokers work with multiple in-house companies and can help you compare quotes and find the best policy based on your individual needs and health history.
That's a great tip. It's like having a personal shopper. For life insurance, they can do the legwork for you and help you navigate the complexities of the industry.
Exactly. They can also provide valuable insights and advice based on their experience working with other cancer survivors.
Yeah.
And speaking of advice,
Yeah.
I want to emphasize the importance of asking questions throughout the process.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you don't understand something, or to push back if you feel like you're not getting a fair deal.
Absolutely. Remember, you are in control. You have the right to choose an insurance company that aligns with your values and provides the coverage you need at a price you can afford.
This has been incredibly insightful. I'm feeling much more confident about navigating the world of life insurance, even with a history of breast cancer. What other words of wisdom would you offer to someone who's feeling hesitant about taking that next step?
I would say, take a deep breath and remember that you're not alone. Thousands of people with a history of cancer successfully secure life insurance every year. It might take a bit of research and effort, but with the right information and support, you can find a policy that provides the protection and peace of mind you deserve.
That's a great reminder. It's about taking that leap of faith, knowing that there's support available every step of the way. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. How has your understanding of the insurance industry changed since we started this conversation? Have you discovered any new insights or perspectives that you'll carry with you as you continue your journey? Welcome back to our deep dive into life insurance after a breast cancer diagnosis. I'm feeling incredibly empowered by all the knowledge we've gained.
That's great.
It's amazing how a shift in perspective can change everything.
Absolutely. It's all about moving from a place of uncertainty to a place of confidence and control.
And I think that's a perfect segue into what I want to explore in this final part of our deep dive. The bigger picture of financial well-being after a breast cancer diagnosis.
Okay.
We've focused on life insurance, which is a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
But how does it fit into the broader context of financial planning?
That's a fantastic question. Life insurance isn't just a standalone product.
Right.
It's a key component of a holistic financial plan that supports your overall well-being. Think of it as a foundation that provides security and peace of mind, allowing you to focus on other aspects of your financial life.
Okay, so life insurance is the foundation.
Yeah.
What other building blocks are essential for creating a solid financial plan after a breast cancer diagnosis?
One of the first things to consider is creating a budget that reflects your current income and expenses. A breast cancer diagnosis can sometimes lead to unexpected costs or changes in income.
Right.
So having a clear understanding of your financial situation is crucial.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's about taking stock of where you are financially and making adjustments as needed.
exactly. And once you have a budget in place, you can start thinking about other financial goals. Do you want to pay off debt, save for retirement, create a financial safety net for your family?
Right.
These are all important considerations that should be factored into your plan.
It's about setting yourself up for a secure future, both financially and emotionally.
Precisely. And life insurance plays a crucial role in that. It provides a safety net for your loved ones in case something happens to you, but it can also provide peace of mind for you in the present moment. Knowing that your family is protected financially can alleviate a lot of stress and anxiety, allowing you to focus on healing and living your life to the fullest.
That peace of mind is priceless. It's about removing those financial worries and creating a sense of freedom and security. Now, I know we've talked about a lot of different financial concepts today. Budgeting, saving, investing, life insurance. It can feel overwhelming to try to juggle all of these things at once, especially when you're going through a health challenge. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed by the financial planning process?
My advice would be to take it one step at a time. You don't have to become a financial expert overnight. Start by setting small, achievable goals. Maybe it's creating a simple budget, paying off a small debt, or researching different life insurance options.
It's about breaking down those big, overwhelming tasks into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are so many resources available to help you along the way.
Right.
Financial advisors can provide personalized guidance.
Yeah.
Support groups can offer emotional support
Right.
and shared experiences. And online resources can provide valuable information and tools.
That's a great reminder. It's about building a support network
Yeah,
and utilizing the resources available to you.
absolutely. And as you start to make progress, you'll gain confidence and momentum. Financial planning is a journey, not a destination. It's about making choices that align with your values and goals and creating a financial future that supports your overall well-being.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from the specifics of different life insurance policies to the bigger picture of financial planning and emotional well-being. I'm walking away feeling informed, empowered, and hopeful.
That's fantastic to hear. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about life insurance and financial planning, the more confident you'll feel about making decisions that support your journey.
As we wrap up this episode, I want to leave our listeners with a final, thought-provoking question. What is one small step you can take today to move towards a more secure and empowered financial future? It could be anything. Creating a budget, researching life insurance options, or simply talking to a trusted friend or advisor about your financial goals. No action is too small when it comes to taking control of your finances. And remember, you have the strength and resilience to create a future filled with hope and possibility.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it valuable and empowering.